Yes, Jimmy, thank you very much. And I cannot believe the time has come, Richard, for the eChampions League final. As we keep on saying, when it was announced, $100,000 for the winner out in Madrid, where the Champions League final will be taking place just tomorrow. We're here. We've got 2 games of FIFA in front of us, maybe extra time, as we've seen today, or a penalty shootout on top of that.
I mean, what a day we've had today as well. We've had every single thing that could happen in a FIFA event has happened here in Madrid. The Champions League final tomorrow, hopefully that is just as exciting as we've had today. We've had drama, we've had stoppages in play, we've had unbelievable goals, we've had penalty shootouts, you name it, we've had it here at the eChampions League, and we've got 2 players who have had completely opposite runs to this final. NightWatch, pretty tough quarter-final, in all honesty, against Al-Navi. It was a late goal. He played terrible. That's his own words. In the semi-final, he sort of hit a little bit of form. He won by quite a few goals, 4-goal margin there in the end. On the other side, New York City Chris, you see it on your screen, 5-4 penalty shootout win against Marcuso, the game that literally had it all.
It really did, Richard. And now this is the final. It's DrNightWatch up against New York City Chris in a game that is worth $100,000. It's live in Madrid. Who will prevail? Who will become a champion? The first ever eChampions League winner of the FIFA 19 Global Series season. 850 points on top of that as well.
Which is massive for NightWatch. That, believe it or not, that's the main reason that he wants to win this event, because of the 850 Global Series ranking points that send him into a fantastic position going into the playoffs. Roughly about 1,900 points. On the other side of it, New York City Chris, a chance to put his name in the history books, 100 grand, and the eChampions League winner.
As the opening 2 shots of the game are from DrNightWatch, kicking in that black strip from left to right. It will be New York City Chris in those home New York City FC colours. You may have seen him play in the MLS Cup, which he was an Eastern Conference finalist, and he was nearly actually 1-0 down there as well.
6 minutes gone. 3 first-time shots from NightWatch in the opening stages.
Just teasing.
You'd have to say that NightWatch has just come off the back of his game. Chris has had a little bit longer of a sort of pause, a sort of break in between his semi-final and this grand final. So his NightWatch, you're going to expect him to come out firing early in the opening half to first game.
And what a story NightWatch had. It was only, back in December that he was an analyst on one of the PGL LQEs in Bucharest, where he is currently living. He's, believe it or not, studying 2 degrees, playing competitive FIFA, and from that man that we spoke to in December, Richard, from the guy that said, I want to make the grand finals. You would have, in anyone's right mind, you probably would have laughed at him at some points. Looking at the events he qualified for, the points he gathered, he's in an eChampions League final, on the verge of creating history for himself. He's a free agent as well. He's a free agent, potentially about to win an eChampions League final. On the other side of that, New York City Chris is in the top 9, or the top 10 players in the world currently, sitting in at 9th on the Global Series rankings as he does win a corner now. Mbappe plays into Van Dijk and, in the end, into Thibaut Courtois. But I feel like we're seeing a FIFA 17 New York City Chris here. The man that made the finals of the FIFA E-Club World Cup.
Yeah, 100%. And you're looking at his performances throughout this year, throughout last year as well. This is the Chris that you expect to see making finals, put his name in the big lights. On the other side of it, talking about NightWatch, talking about that transition, I think it's got something to do with that man behind him in lyrics. He's been with him everywhere. He flew himself over to Bucharest last weekend. He's flown himself to Madrid. He was in Manchester coaching him, and he just added a different diversity on the game, a different pair of eyes watching FIFA for him.
Here's R9. Does time Green finish it, and straight into the hands. The keeper out for a corner. That's Thibaut Courtois in there as well. Van Dijk to get this final underway. And that's exactly what New York City Chris will do. 20 minutes into it, it's the Dutchman that breaks the deadlock from a set piece.
I don't know if you saw that, how quick he took that corner. The replay had barely even finished.
It's a bit like the Champions League itself, wasn't it, with Liverpool?
Yeah, he took that shot, he took the quick corner, just whipped it straight into that front post, and it is the road to the final. Virgil van Dijk, 93 rated, opening the scoring in this grand final. Could this be a little premonition of what's to come tomorrow, potentially, here in Madrid?
We have to talk about Obviously, the Champions League final taking place tomorrow, and whoever wins this competition will get an experience of a lifetime. I think even taking the trophy out onto the pitch half-time as well, which will be amazing for any player. All the finalists will be at that final as well tomorrow, but it's just an extra special feeling if you go there as the champion with that trophy and $100,000 in the bank.
There's also a difference between saying, yeah, I finished top 8, and yeah, I was the champion. I was the best player in Madrid. I wasn't just a contestant, I was a champion. There's name value to that.
Well, here comes NightWatch now. Eusebio, that's an awful pass into Neymar. Lyrics knows it as well, just sitting behind him. He's been coaching him, as you said, throughout the tournament. Eusebio tries to force a pass through, and if you have just joined us, you don't know the squad rules for this tournament. 3 icons maximum, 3 Champions League items as well, which if you do want to sub one off, you have to replace them with that exact same type of foot item.
Yeah, if you're bringing off R9, you have to put on another icon in its place. It's as simple as that.
And we have seen the interesting choice for NightWatch, the likes of Team of the Season Goretzka involved. Havertz was probably a clinical player for him, a clinical substitution.
Probably the MVP throughout the entire event.
Even
Havertz.
Marcuzzo was enjoying him.
Yeah, it seems like he's been coming off the bench. He's been the super sub for a number of different teams. He's been the catalyst to a number of fantastic performances for these players. And I'll tell you what, his price will have rocketed on Ultimate Team right now online.
Whilst also you've got the conversation that Davinson Sanchez is still in at centre-back. Everyone was talking about this defensive area that Chris could potentially have. Touchwood so far, the Tottenham man's been standing strong.
I mean, you could pair me next to Van Dijk and we'd do a decent job, do you know what I mean? When you've got across that back four, Varane, Sergio Ramos and Virgil van Dijk, Davinson Sanchez, he can definitely do a job. We didn't know if we were lacking maybe in the pace, maybe in the aerial ability as well, potentially.
On the turn as well, but he has done well.
We also didn't know if we were going to deploy him at right back or at centre half. He's gone for centre back and pushed Ramos over to right back and Varane over to left back.
Well, here comes Chris again, and Mbappe flicks it up. It was into the path for Neymar, but Rafael Varane, he's out at left back for NightWatch. You're thinking just a full back line of defenders inside the boot there. This time from Cristiano Ronaldo. Thibaut Courtois happy enough to catch that one and meet it in the air. But still, the score currently sits at 1-0. 2 legs of FIFA as well, if you have just joined us. This is the eChampions League Grand Finals, live from Madrid. $100,000 someone will be winning in probably just a little under 30 minutes' time.
He's looking for that long ball, but Danny Da Costa is so good in at right back. He's a presence at right back. 6'2", really good physicals, really good pace.
He hasn't really been spoken about too much today. He's kind of just gone under the radar, done his job. Mbappe.
Courtois, where are you going?
Courtois just catch that in the air. Instead has to give away a corner and actually gives away the last chance of the half, which Chris actually already scored from a corner. Van Dijk again, he does it again! Virgil van Dijk, he's on for a hat-trick of headers.
Another short, I should say another quick corner. Giving him no time whatsoever, just hitting that front post.
I thought the front post headers have gone. Didn't think anyone was doing that anymore.
Virgil van Dijk, glancing header. Just angling the ball. When you put in a corner with that much pace, when you hold square down for that long, your player's going to just whip it into the front post. All you've got to do is make contact. That's exactly what he did. And right now, New York City Chris in dreamland. After you could say a quarter of this final is finished. A slight glance there from Will Pivers sat to his side. And now the knowledge on both sides of the stage.
To be honest, from what I've seen of NightWatch, I've seen a lot of just kind of half-hearted efforts. You always talk about percentages chances in FIFA, Richard, and the right area to shoot from. All I've seen from NightWatch is a lot of yellow time finesses on the edge of the box with his back to goal.
Well, the thing is, he's just come off the back of scoring 8 goals. So he's going to feel like everything he's going to be hitting is going to be good. You're coming to a fresh game. As Ruud Gullit was saying, you're coming to a final. It doesn't matter how you got to the final. It matters that you're here. That's the only thing that you have to worry about. And you've seen a straight-up formation change here.
Obviously, as you know, there is 4 game plans for each player. Obviously, ultra-defensive, defensive attacking, ultra-attacking. There's a 4-2-2 in ultra-attacking if NightWatch wanted to use it. On the other side for New York City, Chris, Richard.
Still with that 4-2-3-1, the trusty 4-2-3-1 that Chris has deployed throughout most of FIFA 19, to be honest. He's a real sort of master of the back post cross, is New York City Chris. He knows where to implement it and how to get the best out of his attacking headers of the ball.
And even so, as you said, Richard, the 2 goals that have been scored, it's been from set pieces, but does it matter the goals you're scoring? When you win the tournament, are people going to go back and say, oh, well, you did score 2 headers? They're not. They're going to say you're the champion. You won the eChampions League, and it has come down to just 2 set pieces that have been won. They've been worked, and it's Van Dijk that's on for a hat-trick, as we said. Here comes Neymar now. Watch out at the back post, because Mbappe is there for Nightwatch. He cuts inside. He does so well. And Mbappe just leapt a few seconds earlier.
Yeah, very, very nice little intricate bit of play there from Nightwatch down the byline. He analyses people. He knows what's good in the game. Taking a little, you could say, page out of Texas' book, page out of Zazino's book right there. With that work down the byline with the cricketters. Looking to find a player inside the box and then just tap circle with Mbappe at the back post. He thought he was going to fall nicely for him in the end. Mbappe did the animation and just missed the ball by about 7 yards.
As we know, there is a second leg, but the key thing is for Nightwatch not to go down 3-0.
Cut possession.
Otherwise, he will be in trouble. You can see it there, 61% possession. As the ball does get deflected into the box, out for a corner again. Nightwatch won't want to look, because next thing you know, Van Dijk could be winning this in the air. Plays short into Neymar. He scoops it up to the back post for R9, and luckily, this time, the Belgium stands tall and he'll collect that one out of the air.
Tijuana clutching that one close to his chest right there.
Look at Da Costa.
Oh, it's
awful pass. I know it took a ricochet through as well. Look at the run on the far-hand side. Cristiano Ronaldo, he's in acres of space. Could this be 3-0 for New York City, Chris?
Straight at Thibaut Courtois. Nightwatch knows right there that he's rolled his luck. You saw a smile come out of him when the pass went away. That smile got swiped very, very quickly as soon as the ball turned over and Ronaldo was in. Maybe go for a low driven there. If you're New York City, Chris, maybe look for that opposite side. Nightwatch did well, really, not to sort of be too drastic with his goalkeeper movement. He kept him quite central, sort of made Chris make the decision. As soon as you move that goalkeeper, you're making the decision for your opponent. It's as simple as that.
Well, for a minute there, you're thinking Chris could be 3-0 up. It was Cristiano Ronaldo that was through. Huge save. Once again, Thibaut Courtois has been working hard all game long. Tees it up, Mbappe into Neymar! Imagine.
We've seen him go in today already.
That just nestled into the left-hand corner.
So it's Bale on at left-back right now for Dr. Nightwatch as well. Goretzka still holding the central midfield, but it feels like just a few awry passes coming out from Nightwatch.
Pull it. He tries to play through to Mbappe. He's offside. Just under 30 minutes left in this first leg. Yes, there's still a second leg to play. And the score currently is 2-0 to New York City, Chris. And we haven't seen much from Nightwatch. Bale comes in at left back. That's kind of the usual substitute that we're used to seeing from him.
Again, just a poor pass, really, from Nightwatch, trying to play through the middle of the pitch. Intercepted yet again. Chris's 2 DMs have worked tirelessly to intercept the ball, to make sure there are presence there.
They've done really well at it as well. 2 of those players that he chose to use for his icon choices, Hullet and Vieira. A staple for competitive FIFA this year.
All the bouncers seem to be just so heavy. All his touches seem to be so heavy right now from Nightwatch. You saw the ball pinged out to Bale, cannoned off him. You saw it then go back over to Danny Da Costa. A poor touch out of his feet.
Tell you what though, Havertz needs to be the hero. He's done it a few times already for Nightwatch today.
Just 1 goal going into that second leg.
That's all he needs. That is all he needs, Richard. 1 chance or 1 goal. Could this be the chance to get it for him? Mbappe to his saviour. He's worked it well. He's timed it yellow again. Davison Sanchez just about gets rid of it.
It's promising signs from Nightwatch. The build-up play, intricate in and around the box, creative passes.
Lovely ball. Ronaldo can get in front of Gareth Bale, who, let's not forget, he was recently subbed on. Yeah, he picks up the ball anyway. And the second time of asking. Christo just looks so calm, so composed. He can keep possession for the last 15 minutes if he needs to, or score another goal! And just like that, he'll extend his lead to 3-0 into R9. He'll pivot, he'll turn, and he'll smash it into the back of the net as he puts New York City Chris 3-0 up. We're not even in the second leg yet.
What a statement from New York City Chris. 3-0 up. Inside 70 minutes, a pause coming out from Nightwatch right now. An animated Nightwatch on the stage.
He's not happy at all. He's 3-0 down at this moment in time, and unfortunately for him, he just hasn't been able to hit anything green, anything timed, or anything in the right direction. It's going to be R9 that comes on, and probably a little bit too late, unfortunately, in this first leg. It's 13 minutes left. Even a goal, something to take into the second leg. That's what he needs. After this leg finishes right now, if I'm Lewis, just get him away from the screen.
Yeah, I love this camera right now. You're seeing Nightwatch on your screen, an animated Nightwatcher. Clearly aggravated, annoyed Nightwatch as well after this 78 minutes from New York City Chris, where he simply just scored everything that he's hit. You can't really put it any much simpler than that. Everything that New York City Chris has hit goalwards has gone in.
Vieira into R9. If he gets to 4-0 or 5-0, it's not going to be a good ending to this first leg. Chris will be sniffing for it, hunting for that chance. It's going to be Ruud Gullit.
Big save. Sort of in the complexion of this game. If that goes in, 4-0 down. Is it curtains?
Davison Sanchez, Cristiano Ronaldo. I think that's the key thing there, Richard. Even though he may feel slightly frustrated and annoyed, don't go and lose yet. Don't go and concede again. Because otherwise you are going to be climbing a mountain that second game.
Not the best of passes back to
I honestly think that's the first touch David Hay I've seen in this half. It's the most we've seen him involved. He hasn't really been troubled at all. Just under 5 minutes remain. Cristiano Ronaldo happily going to play an overlap to Neymar. Seconds remain. Neymar, in the box it goes. And Mbappe was there once again. Just get yourself out this game for Nightwatch. Even try and get yourself a goal.
I tell you what, we've been talking about Nightwatch a lot. New York City Chris has come into this game right now after what can only be described as a thriller of a semi-final.
He went on penalties.
It was up and down. We didn't know if it were coming or going.
That penalty shootout
3-0 up
was worth $30,000. And you know, there has been talk at times when we get into Swiss and he gets to round 5 and sometimes he's up and down, but all those experiences, they test you as a FIFA player.
Do you know what it is as well? We often talk about Chris being an emotional player. You saw it in the semi-finals, banging the desk, getting visually annoyed. Right now he's 3-0 up and he's almost...
doesn't smile.
He probably doesn't want this break right now. He's got Nightwatch on the ropes right now. Nightwatch has been down for a 9 count.
Yeah.
He's got a second leg to get back up off the mat.
And he's got one more match to try and turn this around in our eChampions League final, which New York City Chris currently leads by 3-0. And you said it, you know, do we look deeper into the season that Chris has had? Yes, he's 9th in the Global Series rankings, but he only had his best finish in a tournament a week ago in Bucharest, the LQE, the last one of the year, PlayStation console final.
Yeah.
Is he getting into a rhythm now? You know, all those times where he's been close in Swiss or he's had a really tough game.
Do you know, I think the eChampions League qualifier were big for him to say, I'm among the top 8. We talk about Chris being, you say, always the bridesmaid, never the bride, a Neely man. He did what he needed to do in Manchester. He finished top 8. Just because he's not winning events doesn't mean he's not a top-class player.
Yeah. He's been in the top 10, all year.
He did what he needed to do. In the LQE, he finished top 2, losing to Footwiz Tom in the PlayStation console final. A big sort of confidence boost, a big experience for him into a console final on an international level. And right here, you're coming in to the eChampions League, probably the biggest event of the year for yourself. You've had ups, you've had downs. At one point, you thought you were going out against Marcuso, and he's turned the ship around and he's sailing towards an eChampions League trophy lift in the stadium tomorrow.
It is indeed amazing scenes it could be for the American player, and he was so close in the MLS Cup. We know that. He's obviously a New York City player, very proud to do so as well. He was disappointed. He made the Eastern Conference final against All-Star Philadelphia, lost that one, missed out on a chance to play in the FIFA E-Nations. I keep saying, all these little things, if he wins this competition, that's all wiped away. He's won one of the biggest competitions, if not the biggest FIFA tournament we have seen as part of the Global Series this year. $100,000. Forget about everything else. You go into the playoffs, you're on the verge of a grand final spot if you can have a... Oh, no, 50 points, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's already got 3,000. He's already got 3,000 Global Series ranking points. You add the 850 onto that, 3,850. You're probably looking top 5, top 4, with the likes of Stavano, Pina, Joxan, Nicholas. He's in amongst it. And then going into the playoffs,
not bad,
going into the grand final, what you got underneath his name? eChampions League winner.
Only person to do so as well.
Not runner-up. Not EMLS runner-up, not knocked out in Swiss, this LQE winner. That's all it's going to say.
And there's only one of them as well. There's not 6 of them. There's not 6 FUT Champions Cup. There's not 7 LQEs. There's one eChampions League final. And I pray that we can have this competition year after year after year, and we can, start getting names on that trophy. But we're saying all this good stuff. There's still 90 minutes of FIFA action in front of us. One more leg of FIFA to play. I don't know if you saw it in NightWatch. He walked away. Lyrics was just sitting there. Sometimes you just need a few minutes. Get yourself away.
I think I saw him saying, I need some fresh air. Just calm down.
We've all been there. When you're a bit...
You just got to take a step away from the console. Take a step away from this atmosphere. Take a step away from the lights. And just remind yourself where you are. What you're playing for. You're one leg of FIFA away from getting knocked out. Yeah, you're going to take home $60,000, but you're not going to come what he himself said he was coming for, the 850 Global Series ranking points. That's what this entire journey's been for him.
Yeah.
Everything else has been a bonus. The eChampions League ticket, the 15,000,
the suit,
30, 60,000, the suit, the experiences, that's all been a bonus. For him, the crux of it was the Global Series ranking points.
Because he wanted to prove, that's what NightWatch has always wanted to do, is prove that he can make the grand finals. That's all he's wanted to prove, and you can see there, in his facial expression there, he looks disappointed, he looks emotional. Don't write yourself off. You've got 90 more minutes of competitive FIFA. I know it's tough. I know when you're 3-0 down, you're not going to have much hope left about you, but get that first goal. Get that first goal in the first 10 minutes. You can bring yourself alive. That's the big thing. I'm honestly surprised to see NightWatch kind of in tears there.
And we've talked all the positives about New York City, Chris. But if you could handpick one pro player from the top 10 who you'd want to have a 3-goal deficit and make a comeback on, knowing how emotional they can get, knowing how vocal they can get, how aggravated, it would probably be New York City, Chris. You'd probably pick him to be your opponent if you're going to make that comeback out of the top 10 players. He'd be the one.
He would be indeed. And we have got a second leg to come up very shortly indeed, Richard. Obviously, do you think there's going to be a comeback or not?
I mean, it's hard to tell. I think the first sort of 10, 15 minutes are really going to sort of just illustrate where this final, I should say, is going.
Exactly that. We will be back very shortly after this small break for the second leg of the eChampions League final here in Madrid.
Football can.
And it's free like happiness, look at them, you wanna be like. You can be who you wanna be. Tell me who you wanna be like. I know that you can be a rapper, be a G, rich and famous, get a be a lover, be a B, right? Just spending my life just to be.
Madre mía.
The air conditioned to the heat, living hype, and we're happy we don't stop. We don't stop. Get up, no, we don't stop. Baby.
We light up the football. Gazprom, official partner of the UEFA Champions League. for the players.
Welcome back to the eChampions League final. Here in Madrid, we are about to get into our second leg of what should be a fantastic second part of our final. He is 3-0 down, NightWatch. We saw maybe a few tears. I don't know if that was him a little bit. Is that the Goosebumps for the Champions League song? That's played, what, about 20 times over this day?
Every single time.
It's just special, isn't it? It is just special, this song, and the players have really embraced that as well here in Madrid. But a word on the final, if you have missed it, the first leg was a 3-0 victory to New York City Chris, the North American player who's been on flames after coming out of a penalty shootout in his semi-finals as well. Let's not forget that, a $30,000 penalty shootout match.
After coming out of a semi-final that we thought he were going to lose at one point, it was back and forth, and then he comes into the final. Just starts. Actually, the first sort of 10-15 minutes, he were under the cosh. NightWatch had 3 or 4 quick chances, and his goalkeeper saved him. And as soon as that first goal went in, all the nerves, everything just seemed to disappear. And he just played some really nice FIFA. Whenever we were getting chances, he was scoring them. NightWatch was getting more and more frustrated. And coming into this second leg right now, you're going to have to see a complete role reversal if NightWatch wants to get back into this game.
Well, as we know, you know our thoughts about this grand final at the Champions League. There's some other people that we want to hear their opinions of it. Jimmy, what do you think of that match?
Well, I thought it was not as exciting as the rest of the tournament. Let me put it that way. Pretty comprehensive first victory in the first leg for NYC Chris, 3-0. How are you feeling about it, Sven?
Yeah, obviously one way a little bit in terms of Chris, particularly the headers he scored from corners. But it's never over till it's over in FIFA. We've seen big comebacks before. Imagine the scenes. How many years ago was it that Istanbul happened? We talked about the Istanbul, didn't we?
Istanbul.
It could be it.
I mean, this is the scoreline. It's the scoreline. 3-0 at half-time. Can NightWatch channel his inner 2005 Liverpool?
I think the massive thing for NightWatch, he needs to keep his composure here. He needs to keep his head. He's had this opportunity to have a little break now, maybe just slow things down, rethink his game, and get his composure back, because he did lose it towards the end of that game. You have to say, if he carries on in that vein, he's gonna beat himself in the second leg. He can beat NYC Chris. It's just a case of, can he get that first goal? Because the first goal in this next leg is completely and utterly, I think, the champion, basically.
Now, we know NightWatch pretty well. Do you feel like he's broken? Because he does overthink so much. And we love that about him. It's part of his charm. But sometimes, like I said at the very beginning, sometimes your biggest strength is your biggest weakness.
Well, it's worked from this far. But and he has had games where he's gone down. It happened actually in the Zizinho game, and it happened also in the Alan Ivory game at the start, where he would concede and he'd instantly score again to put the pressure back on his opponent. It's not been happening here, obviously, and his kind of recipe for success has been a little bit interrupted. But he needs a big team talk. Probably needs to sub Steven Gerrard on.
That's very, very true. And I think if there's one player that you want to put pressure on, it's Chris. He's so close to achieving the one thing he hasn't been able to achieve his entire FIFA career, and that is a massive win at a major tournament. If NightWatch comes out early here and he scores a goal, all of those memories start coming back to Chris. If he scores 2, it's a completely different game. He is not out of this. This game is not over. NightWatch is very much still on the shot here.
Okay, now we're talking about NightWatch's perspective. How about NYC Chris? What can he do now to, for lack of a better phrase, stomp on his throat a little bit and just end this and kill it off?
2 goals, I'd say for sure, will be too much. We've seen big comebacks before, but a 5-goal deficit is close to impossible, just because the amount of time there is in the game and the skill that Chris would have in maintaining possession when he needs to. So, get a couple of early goals and it will be all she wrote for NightWatch.
Now, Mark, do you think he's going to do anything formation-wise that would maybe lend itself to inviting attacks from NightWatch?
I think the one thing that Chris has been absolutely exemplary and heads above everyone else is his defending so far this tournament. I think he's going to play the same game. He has invited pressure a lot of this tournament, but He's been the best player at timing those standing tackles when the ball is inside the box or in those dangerous areas. I think, why would you change your game? I think you'd be mad to change your game. You're 3-0 up in the grand final, the first ever eChampions League. If you change it now, you know, your head's gone.
You are the AC Milan of Istanbul if you change it then. Now, for whoever gets second gets $60,000, and whoever gets first gets $100,000. Unbelievable. Lots of money. It's a $40,000 discrepancy, though. So there's a lot at stake in this game, just on the money side of things.
Oh, yeah, of course. And not just that. Let's not forget, they're going to be lifting the trophy pitch side very close to kickoff tomorrow at that amazing stadium. So, and obviously they want to win it anyway to be known as the first ever eChampions League winner. So there's so much to play for. $60,000 is an amazing runner-up prize. You know, it's one of the best runner-up prizes we've ever seen in any competitive FIFA. It's certainly up there with the best tournaments we've had. But it won't make you feel better. If you lose this game, you're not going to be thinking about that. You're going to be thinking about what you could have had.
Okay, well, we're done talking here. Let's throw it back over to the casters for the second leg.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's great to hear from the likes of Mark and Spencer on the couch as well. We've said how important that first goal is. Mark especially said if NightWatch can get that goal, he's back in it. Dr. NightWatch, he's back in the game. If New York City gets it, that's maybe a champion winning goal.
Yeah, especially if he gets it early, New York City, Chris, and just completely kills off all hopes of a NightWatch comeback. If NightWatch can get that first goal and really start to turn the screw, put the pressure on New York City, Chris, we could potentially be looking at one of the greatest comebacks ever in FIFA history.
Yeah, certainly indeed. Well, let's have a little listen to how much it would mean to NightWatch to win the Champions League.
I prepared myself a bit differently compared to other tournaments just because I already knew my first opponent. So obviously I kind of prepared for that matchup and the potential matchups. So I have made my homework, and it's about showing your preparation in game.
Well, there you go. You heard it from Dr. NightWatch, who spoke about preparation. I'm sure he wouldn't have prepared to be 3-0 down after that first leg. You know, we can talk about it, we can joke about it. He didn't really have much time to prepare on a player like Chris. He probably, in some ways, didn't expect to get to a final. Of course, he would have always wanted to get there, but when you come into a tournament, you always have that, you know, that slight bit in your mind that, okay, maybe I could do it.
This is why you start to look at the differences between the semi-final and the final. Yes, different player, but also between the quarter-final and the semi-final, he had about 4 hours break through the other quarter-finals, going to extra time, going to penalty shootouts, and just waiting. Between the semi-final and the final, he had about 7 minutes before that game got straight underway. So maybe he's a player who likes an elongated break, likes just taking his time, taking his foot away from FIFA and just relaxing and then coming back, hitting his stride. Because especially in that first 10 minutes, it looked a little bit panicky. They were taking shots where maybe, as I was saying, in the semi-final, he was scoring. He'd warmed up. In the final, no, not so much so. And I saw him playing a few skill games before the final started, but then he sort of just walked away and said, I'm done now. I'm just ready for the final. So you're always looking at what was the main reason why something happened. For me personally, New York City Chris just took his chances.
Well, I've got some news for you, Richard. Some breaking news as well to all the viewers at home as well. We are going back into that first leg at 2-0 to New York City, Chris. 77 minutes into it, I believe, there could have been one of the squad rules broken with an icon or a Champions League foot item, maybe one too many of them. I know you're excited, Richard, but for NightWatch, that's an extra 13 minutes on top. And you could say he's not behind 3-0 now. He's only behind 2-0. So let's see how this first leg concludes. There's 13 minutes left of it. Obviously, on the esports edition of the game, we are able to go to those certain points in the matchups with the realistic energy of all the players and how they would have been getting on in that moment in time.
Okay, then. What took me off guard. It seems as though there was an obstruction of gameplay. That's the official reason that I'm hearing in my ear right now. So we're going to restart the first leg, 77 minutes on the clock. New York City Chris leading 2-0.
Well, then here we go. We're still in the first leg. We're still undecided who will be that eChampions League winner. But for NightWatch, he's only 2-0 down now.
It's back from the grave.
He went away. Clearly wasn't happy with something. Got it reported and he's back now. 13 minutes left. He's only 2 goals behind. New York City Chris kicking from right to left, if you didn't know already. And in the white strip, Dr. NightWatch from left to right. For NightWatch, even if he can get out of this game at 2-0, it's a lot better than 3-0, trust me. To Costa. on this right-hand side will run out of play. I'm not too sure why he's run out of play at all. Mbappe into Hullet. Obviously great to have Ruud Hullet in the building as well, and to hear some of his thoughts and opinions and the love he gets for his icons that he has in the game.
Yeah, by far the best icon in FIFA. You'd probably say history. Going back when it were legends, now it's icons. You were always used. Ruud Hullet. Nice in that 94 prime icon moments, Ruud Hullet.
Just a few minutes left. I think Chris will be happy to exit this game at 2 goals to up. He hasn't conceded a goal and he still has looked flawless. Davinson Sanchez still with a clean sheet bonus at the moment. There's lots to talk about him. At the moment, he's having a fantastic final. Well, it back to Van Dijk. Just added time to come. And that will conclude leg number 1 of the Champions League Grand Final. $100,000 to the winner.
I like this from Chris. He's not really gone forward. We've only had 13 minutes to play in this first leg, last 13 minutes, but he's just kept hold of the ball nicely. This will be a massive goal for Nightwatch right now.
Let's get down that byline. Tries to get it around his man 2 times, but unfortunately ran straight into the defender there. Neymar. Back to Maldini. Ronaldo's there as well. That's not going to connect with Hullet, and that will be full time. It's official. That is the end of the first leg. 2 goals to 0. New York City Chris still does lead Richard, and there is still the question tonight. Watch. He is 2 goals behind. Can he do it in this second leg?
Yeah, so I think all the points still stand that we made probably about 18 minutes ago after the first leg finished. But now it's only 2 goals. So that first goal now is so important. Before we said it could have been a title decider. Right now, if he scores that first goal, Nightwatch, and goes 2-1 early doors, if he's got kickoff and he scores straight away, can then start to sort of build a little bit of momentum, maybe turn the clogs, maybe potentially New York City Chris falls back a little bit, drops back.
You guys at home may read into this. We do a lot like the breaks in between games sometimes, and like the small stoppages. We've seen it so many times in competitive FIFA. For example, FUT Champions, you've just lost your first 3 games. You're 0-3. If you go into your next game straight away, seconds after, you're going to be angry. If you have a half an hour break, maybe not that long, but 5-10 minutes, you come into it so much more fresh with a different mindset.
I don't know if you remember when last year when qualifying were done through FUT Champions, what was the number 1 piece of advice that a lot of people said? If you lose a game, no matter what your record is, just walk away from the console. Just take time off. That's what Nightwatch did after that first leg. He's now come back to replay the 13 minutes of the first leg. 2-goal deficit going into the second leg. I feel like I'm commentating a game of darts. There's so many legs.
Of course, 2 legs for this eChampions League Grand Final there. We're waiting to get into our second leg now. 2 goals are the scoreline, obviously, at the moment to New York City Chris. And you saw how he approached the last 13 minutes. Nightwatch didn't really have a sniff because Chris got the ball. He kept it, wanted to get out of that first leg, still with that 2-goal advantage. And that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, I think that was important for Chris because when you have to replay a game when there's an issue, if you concede in the time allocated where you're having to replay, it's mentally that can do. It can be so bad for you. Because you're technically playing on sort of time that, in your opinion, shouldn't even be there. Right now, the music's picking up.
Here we
the
go.
atmosphere's building. Officially, we're getting ready to go into the second leg.
It's coming. It's coming. Well, it's going to be Dr. Nightwatch against New York City Chris in the second leg of this eChampions League Grand Final. The man from Bulgaria and one man all the way from New York City. All brought together here in Madrid for the love of one thing, and that's FIFA 19. Can it be done? New York City Chris, 2-0 up. Is that enough to make him the first ever eChampions League winner? Or has Nightwatch got a plan? He normally seems to do.
Nightwatch always has a plan. Can he execute the plan? That is the question. A lot of time for him to think. For him to calm himself. He was very emotionally, visually aggravated, annoyed.
Well, on the other side of that, I'm sure Chris has just been blasting out a few tunes in his headphones. Cross comes into the box where Ronaldo is there. Rafael Varane with a big, strong header. Only as far as the defensive line of New York City. Chris, though, will recycle the ball, come forward with Ruud Gullit. And Leon Goretzka, still part of this team. He's been a vital part of the midfield for Nightwatch. There's the overlapping run for Eusebio. Here's the icon, and there's the goal! Just like that, 7 minutes into it. Wow.
Game on. Nightwatch looks to the heavens. His prayers have been answered. 8 minutes in, halves the deficit. It's a one-goal game right now.
7 minutes into it, the best start possible for Dr. Nightwatch. If there's a plan to follow, he's following it accordingly within these first 10 minutes. He's 1-0 up. It was an unbelievable through ball to Eusebio. I don't even know how he found the space originally. But that's the type of goal you need to score at the perfect time as well. Can Chris reply straight away? It's the best thing he can do. Neymar into Gullit! Just like that. Wipe away any hopes for Nightwatch. He restores his 2-goal cushion. And who else would it be? The man of the moment, Ruud Gullit.
The man in Madrid, Ruud Gullit. Near post, 5-star weak foot. Doesn't matter for Ruud Gullit. Just slots it home. Can Nightwatch reply? I feel like we've had everything in Madrid.
The score now changes slightly, 3-1. 2 goals in 15 minutes, or just under that. And there's a mistake straight away. Hoofed out of possession from Dr. Nightwatch after what was a promising 8 minutes. Still a long old time left in this match.
It's risky.
I saw it a few times from him, especially in the quarter-final, which he just scraped through against Alan Avi. It was a 115th minute winner in extra time.
It's really good pressing from Nightwatch. Goretzka pressuring in numbers. Neymar, Goretzka, Ruud Gullit, Ronaldo dropping back. There will be space for Chris to exploit.
You can see the pass and accuracy between the two as well. New York City, Chris, 89%. It's not high, but
still early doors as well.
Of course, and it still shows that Chris is on top. Cristiano Ronaldo, you probably want him in the box. Unfortunately, going to be out on this left-hand side. Da Costa, Leon Goretzka, scoop turn away from his man from Neymar. Elastico into space. Eusebio doing so well to open up a pocket. Neymar again! And we're back to game on again.
He did very, very well inside the box. Close control. Elastico. The bounce just bouncing off Davinson Sanchez.
That's what he needed. He needed that bounce, and luckily for him, it bounced straight onto Neymar's foot. That left foot that he just volleyed it into the bottom corner. Now the score changes once again to 3 goals to 2. He's only 1 goal behind. I feel like this 20 minutes has given us everything so far.
It's been frantic FIFA at the highest level.
If you have just joined, this is the eChampions League Grand Final, in which after this match, someone will be picking up $100,000.
Oh, what a strike!
That's how you apply. New York City, Chris, just like that.
Instant reply, straight from kickoff. Neymar right outside the right boot, outside the box, top corner. 2-goal lead reinstated for New York City, Chris.
If this was a seesaw, it's been up and down. It's been so hard to predict how this second leg's gone so far. New York City, Chris, though, responding the best way possible. 2 goals in front again, 4-2 up on aggregate. Can Nightwatch once again close that margin down? We've had 4 goals in under 30 minutes. It shows how end-to-end this game has been. Mbappe, Eusebio, Neymar with a fake shot at the shot as well.
Yeah, timed it green as well. If that's on target, it's probably going in.
Corner taken quickly. He's going to scoop up towards Eusebio. De Gea can do no more than just punch it away. Maybe a chance for Chris to settle now. Aims towards getting into that half-time interval.
He's in.
He's done well. Mbappe in acres of space. Watch out for Ronaldo as well. Number 7 on your screen. Heel to heel.
He's wanting to find the back post.
From the Frenchman. Goes just onto the edge of the box now for Vieira. I doubt he's going to be the man to take a shot. And he wasn't.
That's
a
awful.
mistake. Mbappe. Oh, he nearly balled all away from Van Dijk as well.
Virgil van Dijk bailing out Nightwatch. Yet again, it feels like he's had 3 or 4 of those throughout the Champions League finals here. Just very, very poor passes across the back. 4. It's been a last-ditch tackle that's bailed him out at every opportunity.
Once again, scoot down that left-hand side where he's had a lot of success with picking up Mbappe half the time. Speaking of which, he's on the ball again. You think if he scores again and he goes 3 goals up, that's when the game really starts to change. Could it be Hullet to do it? Someone's always in the way. Lucky enough for Nightwatch, it was one of his defenders.
He's got a few triangles just building there, Nightwatch. See that run?
Can he get around the right side of him? Play it inside for Cristiano Ronaldo. Does so well with the purpose spin inside. Surely, wow.
Great goal.
Incredible goal. Just shows as well that he's got a never say no attitude for Nightwatch. Every time he's been 2 goals down, he still finds just something.
Yeah, the Berber spin, not one of the skill moves that you really see all that often, with the Lacquerqueta being as good as it is. And sold New York City Chris there a dream. 3 defenders diving in. Played the one more pass, made sure, and he even timed it green. He had an open net and he still timed it green.
Ramos's hand was just flagging.
I did,
he wanted
yeah.
to get something on that. And just like that. We had 5 goals in this half. More than we saw all last game. It was 2-0 to New York City Chris in that first leg. This is the second leg. 4-3 it sits. Here's Chris. Mbappe! And just like that, once again, he extends that 2-goal cushion. Edge of the box, Kylian Mbappe. And it wasn't even time green.
All game long, he's been setting up the finesse into the opposite corner. On that occasion, Nightwatch, he were expecting it. He moved his goalkeeper 3-4 yards to the left. He just whipped it in the other side. And New York City Chris, that's what comes with playing, 99 games of FIFA at a LAN event this year. You get experience that other players just simply don't have.
Well, I even think he's into the hundreds now, Richard. It was 96 coming into this tournament, plus all the matches he's been able to play. The only player at this eChampions League tournament that's had so much experience throughout all the global series. That explains the amount of travelling he's done to LQEs, whether it's in Bucharest, London, out in America, the EMLS Cup as well. Added time of 3 minutes, just a minute left to play of that in the interval time of this first half. Chris is in front. He's got a 2-goal cushion as well. Be looking for a third to put himself 6 goals to 3 up if possible. Ronaldo nearly tripped over and then into half-time eventually. That half felt like probably one of the longest I've ever commentated on. There were so many goals in it.
That were a long old 45 minutes. You score, I score. Whatever you can do, I can do better. But again, it's that 2-goal cushion from the first leg, which has been the all-important difference, really, between these two. Chris just came out firing in that first leg, and that's the goal cushion that is...
He's not letting back into the game. It's simple as that. Every time he concedes, and there's a half chance that he's letting back into the game, Chris is just doing exactly what he wants to do, going back down the other end, replying, getting that 2-goal cushion back. And then we're looking here at Nightwatch's formation breakdown.
Yes, this is ultra-attacking custom tactic that he's got preset. He's got 8 to 9 Bale on the bench. That's a Champions League Bale, so he can swap Champions League for Champions League. You see Team of the Season Eder Militao, Team of the Year Modric, R9. And also a little Team of the Season Havertz there. Lyrics and Nightwatch sharing a few words as we get into the final 45 minutes of the eChampions League.
He still might be 2 goals down on aggregate, Richard, but that half is proof that he can score goals. He might have conceded a few as well, yeah, don't get me wrong. But he's shown that he can score goals of what we saw in the first leg.
Different player.
Yeah, he can score. That's the main thing. It's just defending on that as well. Well, 6 minutes of real-life time, 45 minutes of in-game FIFA time left before we crown the first ever eChampions League winner.
This is a $40,000 half of FIFA right now.
Of course, for winning it, $100,000 New York City Chris from distance. That was very ambitious indeed. You can just see Coach Will Pivers behind him just laughing and shaking his head. I know a few have gone in, Chris, but unfortunately that one just goes over the roof of the net.
He's going to want to play to the fullback and he's going to play a long searching ball down the line. He's done it all day long and it's been working for him. That occasion, just a little overhit for Cristiano Ronaldo.
Just needs that third goal. Well, that fourth goal in the game for Chris. Technically, obviously, 3-goal cushion on the aggregate scoreline. That would be massive for him. And Mbappe on his left-hand side. He's been on the ball so much. That's silly in the end for Neymar just to be offside. Didn't really need to happen.
But doing exactly what he needs to do. The ball's so far away from any sort of danger, really.
Keep it like that for him. You can see the two CDMs as well that he has got, Vieira and Hullet. We know what they do. We know they're the anchors in that 4-2-3-1.
Patrolling.
Here we go. Wasn't time green. Unfortunately, just goes wide.
Let's look to see what changes are being made right now from NightWatch.
This is good, though. He shows that he's keen to make changes. He's keen to adapt. See both players there, the way they're setting up, the formations. They're both looking to use. They both in. There's a 4-2-2 for NightWatch, depending on the game plan that he is.
Yeah, 4-2-2
to use
versus the 4-2-3-1 from Chris. That we're seeing R9 up top, CR7 and Mbappe as the left cam and right cam. As this game does become sort of into the final stages, it's going to be more stretched. You're going to have Ronaldo at the back post. You're going to have Mbappe at the back post for New York City Chris.
Just needs that one more goal, in my opinion, for Chris.
Think one more goal, you'd say game over. You'd say start engraving his name on the trophy.
I can say we all know from being there, playing against friends or fellow pros as well, when you're only 2 goals down, or sometimes 3, there is that hope of coming back. But in the final that we've seen so far, 3 goals for me, a 3-goal cushion would secure New York City Chris the eChampions League victory, the trophy, the $100,000 as well, and all the pride and prestige
it's a great
that comes
tackle
with it.
Leon Goretzka, really good interception there, but again,
awful pass. I think it was Ruud Hullet that time. Could not play the ball into Eusebio. Needs to be better from NightWatch, needs to be clinical.
You understand why passes are going awry though, because you're trying to rush the play forward. You're trying to get as many chances as you can in such a short space of time.
It's natural for these mistakes to happen. Goretzka into Hullet. Just maybe too ambitious with that pass. Mbappe loses out on possession again for Chris. And for Chris, it's all about tournament football now. Bringing it back down to the basics, keeping the ball in the right areas. Do not give away possession. Get your opponents to come onto you and then find the gaps in between.
Don't have to score a goal, Chris. You really don't need to go forward. You don't rush attacks.
Look at Ruud Hullet. Surely not! Ruud Hullet! The man to win you the eChampions League! To give you that 3-goal cushion! The Dutch icon!
Is that game, set and match. Courtois got a lot on it.
It was that powerful.
A lot on it. Nothing could stop Ruud Hullet as he fires it into the back of the net and potentially fires New York City Chris to immortality as the eChampions League inaugural winner.
I'm sure he's in this venue somewhere, Ruud Hullet, with a smile on his face after seeing that just ripple into the back of the net.
Last chance saloon for NightWatch into 4-4-2. Havertz up top. Everyone's getting forward.
Game. Everything now. Wouldn't even be worried that for C3 at the back from him, just to go out and throw everything at this matchup. For New York City Chris, it's like...
Step out attacking, step out attacking, step out attacking.
Get everyone back behind the ball. Maybe even bring on Modric if you got him on the bench, if he wanted to. But he's going to have to, obviously, it has to be an icon for an icon, so he won't be able to do that exact change. Unless he just brings him on for an attacking player, but I don't see why he would do that.
It's not broke, don't fix it. Since you'd probably say... I would say that semi-final really shaped him, almost. The penalty shootout.
It tested him. It really did test him.
Pushed him to the edge, and sometimes when you face adversity, it can make you a stronger player, and that's exactly what has happened here with New York City Chris. 24 minutes of FIFA away.
And so there may have been 7 goals in this match, but the score on aggregate is 6-3 for the New York City man. 3 goals in front, just under 20 minutes away from kind of forgetting about all that heartbreak, all those times where he's been close to picking up a championship, his first big major trophy. And how better to do it than with the eChampions League?
You saw Varane off, Bale on. You also saw a couple more changes there as well. For Nightwatch, Havertz coming on. I think it was.
You can see the numbers forward for Nightwatch on his mini-map. But when you are putting more players forward, there will be gaps that will appear, so expect Chris to find them. There's one right there with Neymar.
Could have rushed the pass, decided to keep hold of the ball.
Just watch that clock ticking down for New York City, Chris. Why not add another goal onto it? Currently sits at 6 goals to 3. Surely not another one. Rush the pass into... He was trying to play into Mbappe. Leon Goretzka was in the way. Neymar from distance! Get that name in the trophy!
And he knows. You saw that reaction from him.
He always says about his time to beast up. He certainly has now.
He's beasted up on the biggest stage possible.
$100,000 in his pocket. 4-0 up on aggregate. 7 goals to 3 he leads. And maybe that LQE in Bucharest just over a week back was exactly what he needed coming to this tournament, just to try out some of those Champions League players, to taste a console final.
Just the confidence to know that you can compete, that you are good enough, that your ranking's not a fluke.
Surely not. Oh no, I wanted another one there. Just miskicked the ball in the end. And yes, Nightwatch did a fantastic tournament, but when Chris has been tested and pushed and asked the questions of throughout this whole season, and more importantly in this event, look no further than the semi-final where he won on a penalty shootout.
You'd say the Bucharest LQE were pretty much the perfect dress rehearsal for New York City, Chris, coming into this event. Recent LAN experience, making a console final.
Not from distance.
Oof, thought they were about to loop in then.
We've seen them loop in before.
12 minutes. It's all but there for New York City, Chris.
I was going to say, you might as well get that name in the trophy now. 4 goals in front with this little time. Unless Chris scores 4 own goals, I highly doubt we would, but that's the only chance there's going to be a comeback here. And he's saved for me his best performance of the day into this last game.
Oh, 100%.
The grand final. 2-0 win in the first leg, Richard. And every time that he conceded against Nightwatch, he replied. Every single time he replied.
New York City, Chris, flew to Madrid and said, I'm not going out in a quarter-final. I've not travelled all this way to go out.
I'm sure his dad will be somewhere as well. He's been watching all the games.
Over
he was
the moon.
Banging on the table earlier in the quarterfinals when he saw his son doing so well. And I think it was only a few days ago he knew how much money he was playing for. $100,000 he is on the verge of picking up. This is lovely from Nightwatch, but unfortunately it'll be nothing more than a consolation as he works it so well.
Yeah, really, really good goal there from Nightwatch.
He can smile. He knows it's nice FIFA. How many times Ronaldo? Oh no, it's Havertz, sorry. Left to right. Where's that ball going? Next thing you know, it finally did make its way into the bottom corner, but as I said, nothing more than a consolation. I've never seen Will Pivers so happy by New York City, Chris, because he knows all that he's been through. And
usually looks quite worried when he's sat behind Chris, but
biggest smile I've seen in him.
Like a Cheshire cat, ear to ear grin. And all that travelling, time, motivation, money put in to the City brand, paying off in the biggest way possible.
It's not going to matter anymore. He is seconds away from becoming the first ever eChampions League winner here in Madrid. The stage was set a number of months ago. Qualifies in Manchester. Thousands applied. 64 could only be there. And New York City, Chris, has done it.
Yeah, what a performance from New York City, Chris. He saved his best performance for the final. 7 goals to 4 victory against Nightwatch, who's had a fantastic tournament in his own right against Al Navi and then into the semi-finals. But it's Chris's moment. Chris is $100,000 better off, and he's the inaugural eChampions League winner.
And there we go. It's certainly beast up time for that man. New York City, Chris, against all odds. $100,000 richer. He is your eChampions League winner for the 2019 competitive season. He's done enough. Tears in his eyes. And without further ado, let's throw it over to Carl Walker for the trophy presentation.
There, amazing. Thank you so much, Richard and Brandon. Chris, make your way over. Come on over. This is yours. I want to shake your hand right there. Here you are. Lift your trophy, the eChampions League winner, right there, New York City. Chris, unbelievable. Pop this right here. Amazing. Well done to you. Over to Jimmy and the guys at the couch who are going to talk about your success.